All right. Well, let's move on to our next topic here. We're already an hour in, and we've only really covered the one topic there with the Hall of Fame. Obviously, a big topic. But let's move on now to one of the new announcements. Robo Umps are going to be in official affiliated minor league baseball this year. Was it AAA?
Yeah.
So it's coming, right? It's inevitable. I could see Taylor's already rolling his eyes pretty hard at this. Um, like, can we all agree though that this is just happening now? Like, this is no longer a test. They're just working out the kinks and calibrating everything at this point. Like, they've made up their mind and it's coming.
I hope so.
You hope so.
Oh my God, Robo Umps yesterday for me. We've had
Interesting.
defined parameters of what a strike is in baseball since the sport was defined. So why is there human aspect, human interpretation that comes into play here? I hate it. I hate it. I hate it. I want the balls and strikes to be uniform. When we grew up playing, you went to the school, didn't you? And you put the chalk outline of the strike zone on the board on the wall, didn't you? And if the ball was within there, that was a strike. The brick wasn't framing. You weren't getting bad calls, opinion calls. You weren't getting anything like there's. Why is there human interpretation allowed in here? I want it cut and dry, balls and strikes. Robo umps yesterday for me.
Taylor,
Sauce obviously agrees
let's
100%, so
yeah.
we just can skip him altogether here.
Oh, the robo umps, it just don't take away the human side of the way from the game for me, because that's just how baseball is. That's what makes baseball fun. It's like I heard like down in the lower levels how it went, and it's just like balls will cross that aren't normally called strikes. They'll cross the plate and then they call it a strike. They said you don't really notice a difference with it. It's just like kind of when like a ball isn't normally called a strike, it's a strike because it read on the board or whatever. And that's just not fun. Like I like like if I throw a strike and the umpire calls it a ball, like that's a side where I can just be like, during the game, like that interaction. Now you're taking away that interaction, and it's like taking away that rush. Like the human side of the game is what makes baseball so great, right? And it's like I just don't think that we should be changing it as much as we are. Going into like the DH, like now, like universal DH. Like as a kid, like you dream as a pitcher, you get to try and potentially get a hit, and there, and like who doesn't want to see somebody a pitcher hit, because I'm probably just as good at hitting as you guys are, and so like that, that's just this human side of the game for me. Is like don't bring the robo umps. It's just like now we gonna miss like managers arguing balls and strikes. Like those are the best. Like you're just taking away too much from the game, I think. And like you guys said, it's not a matter of like will this work. It's just a matter of like, hey, we're just gonna do this to say that we're testing it out, but it's coming. So it sucks.
One aspect of this that I would actually love to hear what you think about, Taylor, is I think it's really curious that they're implementing it in AAA. However, the majors, they're still going to be, called by a human. How much like can that mess with a pitcher? Like you get used to that robo ump strike zone, and then you get up and you need to adjust on the fly. Do you think that'll have some sort of impact? Yeah.
I mean, honestly, to be honest, I didn't even really think about that, like the going up and down part, like, that, yeah, I think of big time, like, you're taking, you're doing like I said, like, you never know what you're going to get, right? So you're down in AAA and you throw a pitch that's, they call a strike or whatever. And then you go down in the big leagues and now, you're just like, you're focusing on that one pitch, right? That success, I have success there, whatever, because it says strike. Now you go down there and it's a ball and and it's just like, you can't have both, right? So it's just
because that's the thing is I feel like right guys would adjust if it's the same across the board, but now that it's kind of different at different levels, it could be a problem.
yeah, you're just doing it's just too like if they want to do that, do it in like double A, I don't know, but the triple A with it being like guys can go down up and down all the time, like guys like with me with options, you can go up and down all the time. You're getting two different things, like with the balls, and then you go up there and it's the seams are tighter or lower. It's just like just stop messing with it, and let's just keep it the game the way that it is. It's it's ridiculous to me, the robo umps. But
we talked with Joe Siddle of Sportsnet last week, and he brought up a good point. And I've said this before, but like one of the worst things that's happened to baseball from a viewer experience in terms of the strike zone has been that little white projection that they put on TV. Because it's like, first of all, who knows if that's even really accurate anyways. It's the same size regardless of whether it's Altuve at the plate or Aaron Judge at the plate. So like right there, it's kind of broken, right? Would we have the same outcry if we're just watching the pitch on the screen? I don't know. Like, can you just see where?
I don't think
but
so.
It's got the box, and then it shows, and it's okay. Here's the 98 mile, and it was outside of this box, and then the ump calls it a strike, and then there's the outcry. But it's like if we didn't have that box, would anybody really know any better, right? Like, I don't know.
Box, they set that up before the game. I don't know if they've ever perfected this, but they set that box up, the cameras and everything, before the game. Now you got 50,000 people coming into the game. Aren't things moving? Like, how accurate is that? To your point, like, how accurate is that really? I think that's just more from an entertainment standpoint. What was Joe Siddle, who was in the entertainment game? Was he bad mouthing it?
Yeah, he was not a fan of that white box.
Interesting.
I think where I feel about Robo Umps, and they are, I feel like, inevitable. I think when it comes to technology, just because we can do something doesn't mean we should. And I think that's how I feel about Robo Umps. Just because the technology has gotten to a point where we can track pitch location and everything like this, it doesn't mean we should. I mean, if we want to really play that fantasy out to the nth degree, at some point we're going to be able to put sensors in gloves and cleats and bases, and now all of a sudden, safe or out isn't even an ump call either. It's just, well, the sensor said the ball was in the glove, his foot was on the bag, so the bag lights up red because he's out, or green.
It totally kills the romance of the game a bit, right?
Right? Like, I mean, you'd have a close play and a guy's running down the line, and then is it going to light up green? Is it going to light up red? Like, I mean, we could.
I'm actually all right. I'm all right with that
work, but we should not.
I'm all right with Robo Umps, but what I don't want to see happen is all of a sudden the game lengthen because of it, right? Like how video replay came in, and all of a sudden now video replay is taking forever. Like if the Robo Umps come in, like there should be. It's the call is the call. Like I don't want people being able to like start arguing with the Robo Umps and like now they're taking video replay of it and stuff like.
Yeah.
But
oh my god! All right, anybody have anything else they want to add on Robo Umps before we move on to?
Yeah, I got a few points.
Okay.
It takes framing away from catchers, which is like to me a catcher is the way that he calls the game and his framing ability, his blocking ability, right? And you're taking a core element of what a catcher is away when you're taking away framing. But you're also taking a pitcher's ability to expand a strike zone. Okay. And like that's an art form that wouldn't exist anymore, that you start throwing more to the middle of and as the game goes by and you establish the strike zone and with the umpire, your two-seamer gets a little bit further out and your slider gets a little bit further out and you expand and the plate widens. And the greatest pitchers of all time had the ability to widen the plate and earn that favor with an umpire and it relationships and all of that stuff. And at Taylor's point of the no more coaches coming out and getting tossed, to me is one of the greatest moments in baseball. It's that it's just such a contrasting moment to how slow the game is and how methodical the game is. And when you have a manager coming out and he is fumed over how that plate has been called all game, and he comes out and he just covers the home plate in dirt and just disrespects the umpire because he's had enough. And I just love that moment so much, and it happens. And I don't take that away from me. It's such a beautiful moment. But to me, the concept, why can't it be a little bit of both, right? Like we think about human umpires and we think about robot umpires. To me, why can't it be a tool that like an umpire has an audio ping in their ear and they can choose to use it? They feel like they're on and they're done. Think about Craig McTavish as a hockey player of the helmet being grandfathered out of the league, right? It's something where I could see it being introduced to umpires, but like, don't tell a modern day umpire, don't neuter him. Don't take away what it is to be an amazing umpire who does call a game 99% accurate, right? Like
Those are great points, man. Those are great points. The catching aspect is one thing I hadn't really put too much thought into, and you're right. Like the ability to grow the strike zone and to frame pitches and stuff. Yeah.
Tell you how in the minority I am here. I want those red and green bases as well as the Robo Umps.
You're like, put sensors in it.
I'm just saying it'd be interesting if it was a tool. It was a tool that an umpire had at his disposal. It's this little box that where he can turn it on and go bing, bing, and if he feels like if he felt like he heard 20 strikes and he was going to call all those 20 strikes, he shuts it off. It's something that it's a tool at his disposal. He's like, I'm not seeing this guy's pitches. Maybe I'm really off today. So I think and then maybe if it gets grandfathered in and it gets better and better and better, and we accept it 20 years from now, where it's a completely different technological process that we understand and we can trust. But, I think you've got to take a slower approach and make it a tool at their disposal instead of human umpires are now robots. It's Terminator.
On, guys, if you're going to take my points and make a whole bunch of good points against it, I'm not just.
Oh man! All right, well let's pivot from there then. Unless anybody else has something they want to add on Robo Umps, but let's pivot slightly now and talk about one way that baseball is potentially going to speed up the length of a game, and that is through the use of a pitch clock. How are we feeling about a pitch clock? I'm not saying it's coming to AAA and it's inevitable, right? Like I do think that is a little more up for debate and up in the air.
Have you ever pitched with a pitch clock? Sauce?
Yeah, I pitched with a pitch clock in I believe it was either low A or high A. I think maybe both. And
did it make a big difference?
No, you don't notice anything really. Like there's like a leeway too that the umpires gave, like because there'd be guys that it would get down to like one, and there's some guys still going through his signs, and so you don't really like notice it. I mean, there's been multiple times where I've been a part of it where it made like a difference in a game because an umpire took the rule too seriously, right? And so he was like, right when it hit zero, he was like, okay, he didn't deliver the pitch, he's whatever, it's a ball or whatever it was. Or there was one where we had a guy named Connor Panis. He was hitting and he didn't get in the box in like the certain amount of time. So like that's good, right? If a hitter's taking that long, like whatever. But like pitching, I don't think you really notice it at all, unless a umpire is going to be like, hey, hurry it up. And I didn't really find it to speed up the game.
That was my next question. That's funny. Yeah.
Granted, it was a high A game, and so in the middle of, Florida, so in June. So I don't know. I don't think it really speeds up the game. I don't think it's going to make a big difference. I don't think it's going to be something that fans really notice, and players probably wouldn't notice. I don't really understand the pitch clock. It's just, I don't know. I think it's just there to appease the fans. Be like, hey, look, we're trying. We have something.
We're trying to speed this up. Yeah.
Yeah. So, but yeah, I don't know. Kind of pointless.
Well, to Sauce's point, they're literally, I think the average baseball game is around 3 hours and 5 minutes, around there. And Manfred has said many times he wants to get that under three hours. And he says that because he says kids growing up right now are so athletic. They have the choice between baseball, basketball, and football. And we in baseball, we're losing out left, right, and center. We have to have a quicker game. That concept I'm down with, but going about it this way, the day that one of us, if it happens to any of you, reach out to me, let me know, Craig, you were wrong on that. The day I hear from a young player coming up and saying, oh, you know what, I was going to go dedicate myself to basketball, but did you guys notice baseball shaved 5 minutes off the average time? Did you guys notice that? The day that happens, I will stand corrected. But until then, I think we're all on the same page here. This pitch clock is gimmicky. And Sauce and team, what happens when it's in the playoffs and there's big decisions to be made pitch by pitch? I don't want that running through that pitcher's mind. Fair is fair, even if it's against the jet. Like, I don't want that in addition on the pitcher and catcher's mind. I want them being very comfortable with the pitch they're about to throw. I think that's fair.
Playoffs is a good point. That's a good point. In playoffs, it shouldn't exist if they're going to do it. I don't think they should do it either way, but yeah.
Yeah, because I think the pitch clock too would take away, like, especially in the playoffs, like that intensity of like, okay, hey, what is that pitcher thinking right here on that 1-1 count? What is the hitter thinking right here with the runner on first? Now it's just like, hey, hurry it up, please make the pitch, because everybody now, how we are is like, we want that instant gratification because we have our phones. Everything needs to be immediate, right? So, but that's what makes baseball so great, is that tension between every pitch. And if we're speeding that process up, again, we're taking the romance out of baseball. So shouldn't be something that we should be focusing on. But yeah.
There's so many better ways to speed the game up than a pitch
Oh,
clock.
Lord.
Like,
here's
figure out video replay. My God, the amount of times you sit and wait, and then they don't even overturn it, and then it's still wrong. Like, they're still showing. Like, it's like, what are we doing?
The reason for this. That's the reason for this. Baseball video replay is the reason for the bald head right there.
Well, here's one idea for speeding up the game. The average amount of time between third out of one inning and the first pitch of the next inning was about 3.5 minutes between each side, right? So between each inning, between each, top and bottom of the inning, over 17 changes take place in a typical, 9-inning game, right? So 3.5 minutes times 17, that's 59.5 minutes where we're just changing sides of the field.
Yes.
So how about we just hustle out there, guys? Give them 90 seconds. The only person that it really should affect is like whoever's leading off the next inning, right?
Yeah, cutting down advertising time, Adam, is not how you're going to sell the MLB on this.
All right, you poked a hole in that plan, Scott. All right, well, let's move on. Anybody else have anything they want to add to pitch clock?
I was just going to say that, I don't think anybody, nobody in here, we're all diehard baseball fans, so we don't care. We want more baseball. I don't care if it's a 4.5-hour game or if it's a 2.5-hour game. The length of games, right? Yeah, right. Like the length of games has got. And I watched this MLB special where they were talking about how 1978 World Series is like a 2.5-hour game, and now it's get in the postseason, you're doing 4 hours plus games, right? We don't have. Especially in the postseason, you don't have one guy going out there throwing 8 innings anymore. The regular season, complete games, how much time that would save on pitching changes. And when it comes to pace of play, I think right now we're at 24 seconds per pitch. If you go over into like Japan, if you go over into Korean baseball, they're a lot closer to 15, 17 seconds a pitch.
Wow, it's that big of a difference, eh?
Yeah, it's pretty big, and I can't remember what it is, but I believe every second you shave off the average is 15 minutes.
Wow.
Right. So if you go from 24 seconds to 20 seconds, your games are 45 minutes shorter, and so none of us want it to be. I don't ever want any situation in a game to be affected by somebody saying you're taking too long, it's a ball. You're taking too long, it's a strike. I almost think of it like soccer, and like if you got a really slow pitcher out there who's taking 45 seconds between pitches and he's just slow. That's all it is. He's just slow. It'd be interesting if you could go out and give a warning and say, if you keep up that slow play, then maybe some other type of punishment comes into play. But like, I just can never imagine a pitch clock or anything being instantly, you hit 24 seconds. I have to, something happens now because you didn't, get rid of the ball. So.
And they already tried something gimmicky to speed up the game. This stupid how the pitcher's got to face 3 batters minimum. I absolutely hate that as well. That fundamentally changes the game.
Yeah, I don't think that helps.
And I don't think it sped it up at all.
Yeah.
All right, so let's move on from pitch count here. Taylor, I just have a question here. It's not from Discord, but this is from my nephew. Just texted me and wants to know: do you play MLB The Show? And if so, what's it like playing with your own character or player? I guess is a better word for it.
So I know as a baseball player, it's going to be disappointing, but I do not play MLB The Show. This is going to be bad because the games take too long for me to play. Not a great transition point. So, not a great transition point right there. So, but No, I used to play the show, but like I said, too long for me to play. But yeah, as a gamer, knowing that I'm in a game and seeing like whenever anybody's playing, they'll send me a picture or whatever. My cousins will be like,
That's
"Hey,
cool.
look at you!" Like that's cool. So,
That's pretty sweet.
but like my girlfriend says, she wants to just get MLB the Show just because I'm in it, so she can have it. She doesn't even play games or have a PlayStation or anything. So I don't know. It's cool, but yeah, I don't play the show because of the length of the game.
No, that is a perfect answer. All right, let's move on to our next topic here.
Perfect timing too, as we were talking about pace of play.
That was totally unplanned. That was great.